I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
It's Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. Also, welcome back to another cold, lousy, blackout-ridden day in Texas. Just trying to get by day. Anyway, this is another paid request, this time for Joseph. Thank you so much for that. If anyone's interested in any type of requests, videos, topics, reactions, feel free. I'll get to it as soon as I can, and they can be requested either directly to my PayPal or my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. Now there's one of two from Joseph. Thank you so much for that. And this is for the 1967 film Casino Royale, which for some reason I always assumed that it would be in that it was a film done before the actual James Bond films. I don't know why. For some reason I thought they had done this. It was such a failure. They said, no, we don't want James Bond to go that route. We're going to go the Sean Connery, that route. But no, Dr. No came out in 1962. So it was out by the time... I think actually You Only Live Twice is where they were on. Dr. No, For Russia With Love, Thunderball, and then You Only Live Twice. By the time this rolled around. I guess this other company, they had the rights to Casino Royale. And they said, well, we want to do it. We can't compete with the actual James Bond, so let's make it more of a comedy, more of a parody. And the film features people like Peter Sellers from the Pink Panther films, David Niven, Woody Allen, Ursula Andress, who was the first Bond girl in Dr. No. Orson Welles is in it. This film's a fucking mess. I did not even realize how much of a fucking mess this film was. It's disjointed. You could tell there was a lot of issues, and apparently there were. Like Peter Sellers and Orson Welles did not get along. They didn't want to be in the same shot together. There were times Peter Sellers would leave, and ultimately he did leave the production. That's why there's a lot of herky-jerky, especially with his character. I said, wait a minute, you tell a lot of this was not the actual intention. And there were like 5 directors. And they'd film a part of the film, and another would film another part of the film, another would film another part of the film. They put them all together. I don't know if the original idea was that Peter Sellers was going to be through the entire movie. I don't know what the actual original intention of this film was. The plot is going to be confusing. Let me put it this way. You get to the end of the film. Blazing Saddles made more sense at the end of that film than this did. And that's a film where Blazing Saddles is a cowboy and then they're on a movie set. That made more sense, logically, than what was going on here. It was more cohesive. Also a lot funnier. Because this is a comedy that's not funny. It's a comedy that isn't funny. And as cool as it is, I don't want to take the risk. Just because I miss wearing this, but stupid me. I know I'm like 4 minutes in and I'm bumbling around this review. Because I don't know where to start. A chunk of the film is David Niven as a retired James Bond. They want him out of retirement because they want him to do this job. He says no. So the boss, M, decides to bomb James Bond's place. I guess he died in the bombing. So then James Bond takes M's remains, which is a toupee. And when he gets to the relatives, they go, oh, it can only be regarded as an heirloom. Oh, like heirloom, but hair, because it's a toupee hair. See, heirloom, H-I-E-R, hair, H-A-I-R. This is the comedy we're dealing with. Spoiler, jump to the ending. This is a film where they're at the Casino Royale. Woody Allen has swallowed an atomic pill. He keeps burping and cartoon clouds come out. All of a sudden, cowboys, literally cowboys enter the film. All of a sudden there's a seal. All of a sudden there's Native Americans dancing around something. There's a fucking explosion. Everybody's dead. And then Peter Sellers, they took his scene from another early part of the film because he left. So it's like the Peter Sellers part of that is from a different part of the film. He's wearing a different outfit. He's not in the same frame as the others. And they're all in heaven. And then Peter Sellers goes, and then Woody Allen goes to hell. And then boom, cuts to the credits. This is a fucking clusterfuck. It is a clusterfuck. The beginning of the film, when he's at the relatives, they're either women getting drunk, trying to seduce him, or they pass out from this drink, or they're playing ball with this heavy granite thing, and one grabs it and falls to the floor. One of the evil ladies falls in love with James Bond. Then David Niven, he's shooting the birds outside, but the ladies are having bombs and these fake ducks. And the evil lady, who's not good, tells him about it, so he shoots one and something happens and it goes bad. It blows up the evil ladies, at least some of them. And then the now good lady says she don't go to a convent. And then David Niven leaves, and then there's a car chase. And then I guess he's more higher up in the spy organization now. Oh, he has a nephew called Jimmy Bond, played by Woody Allen. He's in like one scene where he's ready to be shot at firing range. His joke is, you know, this means an angry letter to the Times. He escapes, but he jumps to another firing range, but then he escapes, and then you don't see him till. So now that David Niven is more higher up, he decides to do an anti-female spy device where he gets a guy, trains him to resist women, because nowadays spies are looked at as sex maniacs. So you have this guy who's hired, and he's resisting women, and I swear to God, we don't see him till the end of the film. I swear to God, we don't. So I went, what was the point of this character? Because then it cuts to Peter Sellers with, I think, Ursula Andress and others. Peter Sellers is a card player, and he plays the role fairly serious because he wanted to. If you read the behind the scenes, he wanted to play it serious. He didn't want it to be a comedy. That, and not getting along with Orson Welles, again, what fits where he would fucking leave. I know it's a weird glass, but hey, it's water, and it did, dripped before it was gone. Tip: if you ever face an emergency and you have water, get as many of these as you can. Have them drip. At least you'll have water. So that's something. So the movie is boring. It's disjointed. It's not funny. Mostly Peter Sellers is playing it straight because he didn't want to be a comedy. Perry left for long periods, like I said. He didn't finish scenes, and it's obviously telling. The lady taking pictures of him, and he's dressed as Hitler. Then he's dressed as Napoleon. Then Peter Sellers being introduced, getting stuff like this wristwatch, which is also a TV. Which I swear that never comes into play ever again. So what was the point of that? Then you cut to David Niven talking to his daughter Mata Bond. Because it's the daughter of Bond and Mata Hari. And then now we have like a completely different film where she's going undercover. Doing this dance number. Goes to the Mata Hari School of Spying. There's this slideshow. She screws it up. The people, just because they see war in the slideshow, they assume there's an actual war breaking out. She uses a fire extinguisher to stop them, leaves. Then we go back to Peter Sellers. At one point, he falls off screen. Like, he goes off screen, we hear him fall. Then all of a sudden, there's like a still picture of him like this. And then you have this weird dream where he's kissing folks and smoke and cards. I'm like, was all this done because they didn't have enough footage with Peter Sellers? But he was popular because of the Pink Panther film, so they wanted to create as much as they could. For some reason, I think this scene wasn't originally intended. Because you just have weird random stuff that doesn't work. Absolutely doesn't work. Orson Welles is not in the film much. He's the villain Le Chiffre in Casino Royale. They had to film it and edit it where they're not on the same screen together because they didn't want to be on the same screen together. Peter Sellers and Orson Welles. So you get wanty editing. Then at one point, Peter Sellers leaves. He gets in a fast car. Boom. Cut to he's in a chair. Orson Welles is putting the stuff in for mind games. Then it becomes an incredibly weird, psychedelic, color filters, little animation that's in his head. Which is, I don't even know how to describe it. Other than if you're high. If you took acid, maybe you'd understand it. Then he's in a dream state where he's with a bunch of Scottish folks, with the bagpipes. Which then, at the end, you realize, oh, they took a scene from this and plugged him into the end. And you know this was not the original intention. Because a woman comes by, shoots everybody else in that dream weird scene, then says something, shoots, I guess, at Peter Sellers. Then it cuts to a shot out, and there's no Peter Sellers there. So I guess we're to assume Peter Sellers has been shot and killed. Which is weird. He's been shot and killed in this dream scene. And then I guess he's actually dead. So are these people have the powers of Freddy Krueger? They cut to Orson Welles. And then some assassins and a TV, and they literally break through a TV screen and shoot Orson Welles in the head, which is rather violent for a fucking comedy. Then you cut to someone on a horse, I forget who. Oh, they grab, I guess because a lot of these people have the name James Bond. Grab someone, they get into what looks like a fucking spaceship. But it's one of the ships that the bad guy, sort of the Dr. Evil, the bad guy organization with the sci-fi tech. Like in a lot of early James Bond films. And at this point, I'm like, is Peter Sellers dead? Is his character dead? Did they kill him off because he couldn't finish the rest of the movie? I know a lot of this, I guarantee you a lot of this was not the original intention. I'd love to hear what the original story was. What was the original script? What was it supposed to be? Jack Craven, do you know? Does anyone know, please? Woody Allen, he's the villain. I've given it away, I don't care. He has people trapped, they escape, I say he's given an atomic pill, and he burps. There's these cartoonish clouds, and then you have this big fight where it's, I think it was in the Casino Royale, which would not make sense because they were at the bad guys' lair. I don't remember now where the fucking thing was. This is big. No, yeah, they escape. I guess they went back to the Casino. No, I can't remember now. Really can't. That's why then cowboys show up, and some French guy shows up, and there's a bunch of shooting and punching, and Native Americans, and for some reason a seal. I think maybe even a monkey was there. It explodes, everyone dies, then boom, it cuts to them in heaven. And then someone gets pulled down. The only positive I could say is the end credits song was kind of catchy. It was kind of catchy. And the groovy vibe. And then I did Peter Sellers, who's from a different scene from that, because he's wearing the Scottish kilt outfit. And then Woody Allen gets pulled down. So, yeah, this the original intention. It's a clusterfuck. It's a crazy, incomplete production. Because you had, I guess it was the star leave, so then they had to use the footage and add a bunch of stuff in and try to stitch it together. And it's like a blind man doing surgery. It just didn't work. Didn't work for me, brother. It didn't work. This was fucking awful. It's one of the worst things I've seen dealing with James Bond. And I heard it had a somewhat meh reputation. It was worse than I thought it would be. It really was. I expected it to be maybe not the best comedy. I was not expecting it to be such a disjointed mess because I didn't know any about this backstory. I still don't know the full story. So this is a fucking mess. Piece of shit. And it's unfunny. So we'll see you guys later. That's all I gotta say. Bye-bye.